Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, September 19th of 2024. My name is Melissa Andre, and we are convening a session of the Philadelphia Tax Review Board. With me today is our board chair, Paula Weiss, as well as board members Nancy Cameradiner, George Matthew, and John O'Connor. It's my responsibility to let everybody know to please be aware that this is a public hearing and it is recorded. Because the meeting is public, participants and viewers have no expectation of privacy. And by continuing to be in this meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. This recording will be posted on the Tax Review Board website. Paula, please take it away.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Tax Review Board hearings for September 19th, 2024. Before we move into hearings for today, we have one order of business, and that is for case number 4 on our docket, Commerce Square Partners. Last 4 digits of the docket, 5M84, and that matter has been withdrawn. We're going to move up to case number 3, 618 Market LP. Last 4 digits of the docket, VNRF. Mr. Wakefield, is this your case?
It is. So this is a refund petition that Mr. Schneider's here. We have agreed actually to a refund if the board would like to issue an order. The refund amount should be $120,325.07.
Can you read that one more time for me, Mr. Wakefield?
Sure. 120, comma 325.07. $120,325.07.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Schneider, could you identify yourself for the record and then let us know whether this meets with your agreement as well?
Yes, David Schneider for the taxpayer 618 Market LP, and that is correct. The refund amount $120,325.07.
Okay, so it is then it should be the decision of the Tax Review Board to grant this refund request in the amount of $120,325.07. Can I get concurrence from other board members? George.
George Matthews, I concur.
John.
John O'Connor, I concur.
Nancy.
Nancy Cameradiner, I concur.
And Paula Weiss, I concur as well. So this matter will then be marked as concluded for Tax Review Board purposes. Mr. Schneider, you will get a letter from the board within about 2 weeks that details the decision as we just spoke about it, and that should conclude the matter.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Steve. Good to see you, Frank.
Good to see you, Dave.
Okay, so then you're excused if you have no other matters before the board, and we're going to move on.
Thank you.
Take care. We're going to jump up to case number 1 on our agenda, which is Alfreda Brockington. Last 4 digits of the docket, 3994. Ms. Brockington is in the room. Good afternoon. My name is Paula Weiss, the chair of the Tax Review Board. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, good. And we can hear you. Would you state your full name for the record, please?
Trudy Brockington Lewis.
Okay, and do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so this petition, however, was filed in the name of Alfreda Brockington.
Yes, that was my mother. She's deceased. I was just assigned executrix this morning.
Oh, okay. So hang on a second. Ms. Andre is going to come get that from you so we can get a copy of it for our files and for the law department.
Thank you. I'll make a copy. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So you're here representing the estate. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I am going to turn to the city right now. First of all, to concur that the city representative, Mr. Wakefield, specifically has no objection, assuming he gets a copy of the letters of administration. You're fine?
No objection.
Okay. And then, all right, then thank you. And then we're going to also turn to the city for the years and amounts in controversy. I'm going to swear in Ms. Dillon first. Good afternoon, Marge. Can you state your full name and position with the Department of Revenue? We can't hear you. You're muted.
My name is Marge Dillon with the City Revenue Department.
And do you swear or affirm testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Excuse me.
Mr. Wakefield, did you want to make any opening comments before we get all the numbers on the record?
No, thank you.
So Ms. Dillon, can we have the dollar amounts and controversy in the years?
Sure. Excuse me. Okay, we have from 2015 through 2023. Principal, $12,174.13. Penalty, $719.03. Interest, $2,002.18. Liens and legal fees, $3,356.60. Excuse me. Totaling $21,371. That'll be it.
Okay, we're going to turn back then to the petitioner. Ms. Dillon. Can you explain to us why you're here and what you're looking for from this board?
Okay, I just was granted this morning. My sisters were over there, they were in charge and they were running it as best they could. My mother was in an accident and she died with that. She was married, not to our dad, to somebody else when she passed away. He just left it on everybody. He said he didn't want anything to do with it, but nobody could do anything with the building. It is vacant. It has been vacant for years. I had to run out, hire a team, and run out squatters and start cleaning up. It was full of trash. So I'm asking for your understanding and help to get down these bills because nobody made any money off of this. And I also have to deal with refuse and water. This is just the starter. And build it up because it's really bad off.
What kind of building is this?
It was it's a 2-story, you could say it has like 4 apartments, used to be apartments in it. The roof is caved in. I put a tarp on the roof. It's bad.
Okay.
I'm trying, I don't want the neighborhood to be like that. I've gone over there and started cleaning already. But my sisters, they weren't any help because they call themselves doing something and they were messing up.
Okay, so are you or is the family in a position to start making payments toward the delinquent real estate taxes?
No.
What's the
They
plan?
don't want anything to do with it. They're like foreclosure. But I'm trying to save it.
Well, so the question then, are you in a position to begin to make payments towards the tax principal?
Not at these rates. Not at these rates.
Well, this board has authority to abate or to lower interest and penalty. There's still a principal amount of $12,174 that would need to be paid, whether it's in full or through a payment agreement. We would need to know that someone is taking responsibility for that.
It's not only this property, it's about 6 or 7 properties, 2 which have been stolen that I hired a lawyer and we're trying to switch it back. We have to sue the people that stole the properties. So I'm not in a position at these rates. Plus I have other ones to deal with, but I'm trying to get there somehow.
Thank you. Mr. Wakefield?
Yeah, we would ask that the petition be denied for a number of reasons. Number one, the taxpayer has basically said that they're not in a position to make a payment arrangement on these taxes. So even if you did an abatement of interest and penalty, they're not going to pay because they don't have the ability to pay. Secondly, though, we just heard they own 6 properties. So you can sell 2 of these properties and pay off the other 4, or sell 3 and pay the other 3. So the inability to pay the taxes isn't really an inability. It is maybe a lack of desire, but it's not an inability. The city is not in the position of financing people who want to own 6 properties. And that's essentially what is being asked here. The interest and penalty serves 2 functions. One, it gets people to pay, but it also ameliorates the issue of the time value of money, right? Because if you say, look, you don't have to pay the interest and principal, the $10,000 that they're paying is not the same $10,000 as people who paid on time. And the other 575,000 parcel owners in the city of Philadelphia who did pay on time and paid with actual dollars from worth the actual dollar in the actual year where it came due would be unjustly paying essentially more than people who come here 10 years, 15 years after the fact and want to pay without interest and penalties. Now, the city usually doesn't protest when there's a statement of, look, we're going to get it all paid in 60 days because of bird in the hand, right? But here, we don't even have a bird in the hand. And so I would ask that it be denied.
Okay, can I make a statement on what he just said, a comment? Okay, this is not, I just got awarded this morning. Now, I've been fighting this for 2 years. I didn't just say, okay, let me get up this morning and get this. I've been fighting this for 2 years. I'm trying to make good of it. I'm not trying to get over and other people paid on time and now all of a sudden I'm coming in and trying to pay less than they paid. I'm trying to work things out. Now, some of the properties, I have a sister that lives in one, I have a brother that lives in another one. I don't want to throw them out on the street either. These properties aren't like you can go to them and just walk in. We got floors missing, ceilings missing, all water pipe, new water pipes, all new electricity, doors, windows, everything. This is not a property unit. This is going to be challenging, and I'm willing to sell something if I have to, which is, it seems like I have to. This is all coming in. I'm trying to put this together and work things out with you at the same time.
I understand that. And when you say, though, that you're going to work things out, what we would need to hear is that there's a plan for paying the taxes. That's working things out for the city. I mean, the taxes are due and owing, and we can't erase that specific amount. And we would need to know that there was some kind of plan in place.
Okay.
That
I could find one of those buildings. I could find. I got to look through them and take pictures and everything, because I don't want to just sit up here and tell you something to let you hear it. But I
appreciate that.
I am going to I'm planning on taking pictures and seeing what's going on, because I just got control this morning. My sisters had control, and from what I've seen, I don't like, and it's going to be a challenge, a very hard challenge here.
Liz, can I ask you a question? When did your mother pass?
She passed in 2006.
Okay, and I'm going to turn back to the city. Ms. Dillon, when is the last time real estate taxes had a payment?
Marge, you're also on mute, so you definitely have to unmute yourself when you're ready to answer.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Oh, there hasn't been a payment since 2016. Looks like no, I'm sorry. 2018, there was a payment made.
And did it cover the full amount of the tax, or was it just a small payment?
Yes, it did cover the whole amount of the tax.
Okay.
And it was paid like in 15 and 16 also. But after that, it hasn't been.
Thank you. Anybody else, any fellow board members have any questions?
No.
No.
Wakefield, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, thank you.
So we're going to step back. Ms. Lewis, just stay where you are. The board is going to deliberate based on the information that you've provided and the city's argument as well, and we'll let you know what our decision is.
Just stay right there, okay? Everybody, we'll be right back.
Can I make a final comment?
Sure.
I'm willing to try to sell something to pay, but I need something more. I can't pay $21,371 on one property when I got 6 or 7 to work with. I need just a little help.
Okay, we understand. Thank you.
Boom. Good, how are you? You too.
Everybody should be back now. I see Paula. Yeah, everyone is back.
All right, so the tax review board is now in session. Mr. Wakefield, are you there?
I am, sorry.
It's all right, I see you. All right, so the tax review board is back in session. We have discussed the matter, positions of both parties. It's our decision that at this point in time, we are going to grant a 3-month continuance by way of acknowledging that the letters of administration were just granted by the Register of Wills today.
Yes.
And Ms. Lewis, we're going to give you 3 months to look at the whole picture, organize what needs to be organized, and ask that when you come back for your next hearing, that if you are asking this board for some kind of relief, that you have a plan that shows us an ability or a process by which the liabilities are going to be paid and addressed, whether that's in full or by payment agreement or however that gets worked out. But we would need to see some kind of plan moving forward that would actually address the liabilities. And keeping in mind, I think something that's new, and Mr. Wakefield or Ms. Dillon, you can probably speak to this, that in order for the Revenue Department to be able to enter into a payment agreement, as opposed to asking for full payment, they're going to ask that everything that is open on this property be addressed. Whether it's refuse or water or real estate, it's going to have to be a comprehensive solution. So if you have not filed TRB petitions for those other matters, probably want to take a look at that. Mr. Wakefield, did I explain that correctly as to how revenues policies are being enacted these days?
That is correct. And it's just because of the way our accounting system works, we have to get you into an agreement for all the real estate. Just FYI, there was an SCE hearing in 2021 already, and that was denied. So there is no opportunity to get out of the refuse fees.
Okay, thank you. That's good for us to know. We wouldn't have that information available, right offhand. So that's what we're going to leave this for today. We're going to come back in 3 months, see where you stand, see if there's some kind of plan that you've been able to put together. I'm going to ask one more question, Mr. Wakefield. You said property, that it's a comprehensive payment agreement having to do with real estate. Does that include water?
Does not include water. So all she would have to do to get into a payment plan for the real estate taxes is take care of real estate and SCE fees, which are associated with the property. Water has its own accounting system, and so that's separate. So she should get into an agreement for that water, but she doesn't have to in order to get into an agreement for the taxes.
Okay.
And what are those others that she should have? You gave initials.
That's right.
SCE, those are the garbage fees.
Refuse.
Oh.
Refuse collection.
Refuse collection, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And just one more clarification. It doesn't have to be global as to all the properties. They will isolate the one.
Just one property.
Okay, let's
That's
do
it.
it. All right, so can I get concurrence from fellow board members as to the 3-month?
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to work on all of the properties that my mother had.
Mm-hmm.
Working on the water, the refuge, and the taxes. I'm trying to put it together. I was going to fill out paperwork for each and every one of them to be looked at. Can we solve everything, like a plan in the 3 months for all 3 of them? Because
Well, if you file those petitions and they're in our system, we can look at a global hearing.
okay.
And
Yes,
then we could also reach out to the law department, because maybe they can assign an attorney who can maybe provide you and look at everything all together.
Okay,
but you would need to file those petitions
Okay.
to ask us
Soon
to
as possible.
start it, right, as soon as possible.
okay.
All right, so on the table is a 3-month continuance. Can I get concurrence? John,
John O'Connor, I concur.
George,
George Matthews, I concur.
Nancy?
Nancy Cameradiner, I concur.
All the ways I concur. So Ms. Lewis, you're going to get a letter that just explains that this matter has been continued and put off for 3 months. You will then subsequently get a new hearing date letter that will tell you when to appear.
Okay,
Okay, so good luck, and we look forward to hearing from you in 3 months.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you. That matter is concluded. I don't know whether we have anybody else yet, so we'll wait a minute.
Yes.
Yes,
Hi, we have Dale Peters, I believe.
case number 5.
5. Yes, sorry. My
Sure.
blank. He'll be in a second.
Okay.
Have a seat. Don't forget to keep your voice nice and loud.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on then to what's listed as case number 5 on our docket. Dale Peter, last 4 digits of the docket, 9955. Good afternoon, Mr. Peter. Could you state your full name for the record, please?
Dale Peter,
And do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
I do.
Thank you. My name is Paula Weiss. I'm the chair of the Tax Review Board, and our board will be hearing from you as to why you're here, what you're looking for. But we are going to start with the city representatives to provide us with the dollars and dates in controversy. Mr. Wakefield?
Marge, can you read this off?
Marge, you're on mute.
I don't have him on my list at all.
Okay, I got it, Marge, no problem. All right, the years for which there is a tax balance are 2012 through 2015, then 2017 through 2019. And if you give me a second, I'm gonna have to pull 2025 out to give you the totals.
Thank you.
Because Prism, for some reason, already has that in.
So,
Give me just a second.
Mhm.
I can give the total is $4,007.55. Expected today.
We need a breakdown from the city that Mr. Wakefield's going to give us principal, penalty, interest. So,
Yeah.
Excuse me, Melissa, can you give me that address?
Sure. It is 1628 West Wigahawken Street. Did I say that right?
Wigahawken.
Yes, Wingahawk.
Thank you.
The non-Philly in me.
Mhm.
How are we doing here?
And are
It's
we
just
getting,
it's gonna be another second.
are we getting the amounts from one date to another, or the amounts that are outstanding from between those dates?
You're getting
Totals.
you're gonna get a total for the whole thing. If you just give me a second, I just have to unfortunately run it through Excel.
My question is this what's paid or what is due and owing?
This is what's due and owing.
Okay, that's what I wasn't sure which calculation you were making.
I don't get it.
So the actual outstanding tax balance principal is $44.24. Interest is $176.02. Penalty is $1,122.96. And the other is $613.86. For a total of $1,957.08.
And that's what's outstanding on the account?
That is what's outstanding on the account.
Okay. And so,
But I have a clarifying question. You said that this covers the years 2012 to 2015, 2017 to 2019. Is there any years after that? Or just
Hold
those?
on. I actually, you know what? I cut 2 years off that. I'm gonna have to give you the totals again if you give me a second. I apologize.
all right, while you do that, let me turn to Mr. Peter. Could you tell us, why you're here, what you're looking for?
Okay, well, why I'm here is because I had it in 2018, I had an Oopa agreement, which stated that if I made the total amount of payments of $6,290.12, that would satisfy it, and then 100% of the interest would be waived, and also 100% of the penalties would also be waived. Now, in 2021, during the pandemic, what I did was I paid off all of the principal. I paid off all of the principals on the property. If you look at the dates for December 2012, there was a tax of $590.10. In that year, I paid off. Well, I paid off in a total amount of $1,112.19. But if you look at every of the tax years, and if you look at the corresponding credits, you will also see that the payments was made in order to satisfy the principal. So originally, this agreement, Oopa agreement, was supposed to last for, I believe, 15 years, 15 years and 3 months, with a total payments of 183. What I did was have an opportunity during the pandemic. I went ahead and I paid off all of the principals, satisfying the agreements. In total, I made a total payments, if you calculate the credits, as $6,450.80. The total owed on this agreement was $6,290.12. With an overpayment of $160.74. What the city did was they reallocated the payments after all of the payments were made and now it's still showing that there is a principal owed on some of the years. When, if you look at the credits for corresponding years, there were credits that covered those entire principal credits. I feel that I satisfied the agreement. Not only I satisfied the agreement, I overpaid on that agreement. So what I'm doing is I'm requesting that the city on its agreement of waiving the interest and penalties, and then also credit any balance towards any of the others. And then also I have the others calculated as of today. I have the others calculated as $2,368.35. When this agreement was entered back in 2018, the city had, and I have the document right here, I have the city document right here, which has the others calculated as $1,876.76. There's a discrepancy of $491.51. All of this should have been included in the agreement. That's what the agreement said, that all of those were included in the agreement. Since such time the city has added other charges to it. which I feel that since I kept to the spirit of the agreement, that I should not be responsible to these others that were added after the fact. I had, it took me some time to find the copy of the original Oopa agreement, but I have it here today, and it documents everything. And then even this afternoon, when I pulled up the payments and I saw the discrepancies between them, I see the payments are there, but it's not reflected where it needs to be reflected. Which
That's well said. Mr. Wakefield?
Give me a second and I'll have those totals for you. All right, so the total is $4,007.55, which is principal of $135.10. Hold on there just a second. Let me just make sure I have this 100% right. Interest of $260.16, penalty of $1,929.31, other of $1,682.98, for a total of $4,007.55. So when we look at the account history on this property, there was originally a default, and then after default, he was put back in. Now, the second agreement, of course, then included 2019, which was not a part of the original agreement. He had an obligation to pay 2019 in its full, or he would have defaulted on the earlier agreement. This board directed that he be put back into the agreement, and so we put him in the agreement. We put 2019 in the agreement. That changes the calculus on the agreement. So the agreement is therefore no longer for the original balance that we entered into at the time of his initial agreement, because it had to include 2019. And so, it doesn't matter that he paid a certain amount. What matters is that he didn't pay all of the amount that includes 2019 under the terms that he was supposed to pay. So when we look back at his payment history, right? Take a look here. So he made some payments.
Mr. Wakefield, we can't see your screen.
You can't see it.
I'm actually trying to get to his payments before I pull them up. Hold on.
And can you tell us what the actual full amount was on that second Oopa agreement?
I don't have that. You ordered us to put him in, so we put him into one.
Hey, can I?
So
the city's turn to provide us with what they have.
His last payment was in April of 2021. If you give me a second here, I'll share the screen. All right, can you guys see?
Yes.
Yes.
So he paid $26.57.97.
Where are we looking?
So if you look, hold on here. I hate this laptop. I hate that I have to use a work laptop when I'm at home. I'm on vacation. So he paid $26.57.97 in 2021. When we look at how that's broken out, it was paid entirely on principal that he owed. And that was applied to tax years 14, 15, and 16. So you can see that broken out here. That was applied to principal for those tax years.
And what was the dollar amount there?
The total dollar amount was $2,657.97. So then we go back 4 months prior, and as this board knows, you can't skip for 4 months when you're in Oopa, is a $497.78 payment for tax year 2013. Again, that's all paid to principal. So that's all principal amounts that, were due and owing under the agreement. So then when we come back down further, he has a single payment in December of 2020 for $158.95. That again was applied to principal only 2018. which, as the board knows, we're obligated to apply his payments first to principal. Then before that, so he has another payment of $94.98 also in December of 2020. So that was paid again to principal only for tax year 2019. Then he has a $600 payment around that same time that was applied to principal for 2012 and 2013. So again, the city is crediting him, as we can see here, for his payments. Then there's a gap. So we go back to August, it's 4 months. August of 2020 has a $34.52 payment. It's paid on the other for 2012. Under the Oopa agreement, he does have to pay other. And as we go back through, we see here that he's made a series of $34.52 payments.
Was that the Oopa amount?
That's the Oopa amount, right? But you can see they're sporadic. August, June, February, missing January of 2020, not COVID times yet. We have December of 2019, then we go back 3 months to September, then a month. They're pretty, through from May of 19 through September, he makes his monthly payments, or rather through March of 19. Then we go back into 18. We got, like 3 payments in 18. Then we go back to 16 before there's another payment. So yeah, his initial agreement was in breach. When he was put back into an agreement, he was put back into an agreement for the amounts that existed at the time. So in order for him to be done with his Oopa amount, he has to pay the remaining $270.20 of principal. I mean, rather $135.10 of principal. And he has to pay the $1,682.98 of other. And if he does that, then he will be current. And just so the board knows, we're not, all the payments are being applied, right? And as you can see, none of the payments have been applied to interest or penalty. So when he runs out of principal and he runs out of other, then we will wipe out the interest and penalty. And we haven't been applying any of his payments to interest and penalty. So he just hasn't paid the full amount that's due.
And so all of that notwithstanding, what you're saying is he's still not considered in default, and therefore, should he make these payments that you've outlined,
I think he may be in default.
Away. Well, that's all I'm asking, because you just stated that the interest and penalty would be waived.
Well, if assuming that he is, see, he came in here, I read that he's asking for his debt to be discharged. The question as to whether he is in a valid Oopa or not, we defaulted him in July of 2022. And then he, he has not been re-put into an Oopa. So he would have to get back into an Oopa first. And then if he did that, then when he paid those amounts, he would be done. So if the board wants to reinstate his Oopa today, I don't have an objection to that. But he's going to have to pay those amounts to get the discharge.
Excuse me, Honor, may I just interject one thing?
All right. Does that conclude your statements for the moment, Mr. Wakefield?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Does the city, the characterization that the city is given is somewhat misleading, because if you look at the earlier months of the payments, I was making lump sum payments of prepaying it. So what happens is that the city was still putting me in default. That's why we had to go back into to get this reinstated. It wasn't in default. It was reinstated. That if you look at the payments of the $34.52, but you'd also see there were lump sum payments in between those gaps, and that would cover the payments before.
I understand, but it's the city's policy and practice, and I think part of the agreement, that a payment has to be made every month. It's not, oh, you can make up for a missed payment and
No,
not be considered, and
no.
still be considered to be in the program, that it really does require an every month amount be paid.
So what I was doing was, because it takes time for me to leave work to go ahead and make the payments, I was coming in, making the payments ahead of time to be applied to the other ones, because it takes time for me to leave work to come to the city during the hours to take the time to pay it off. So what I ended up doing was I ended up prepaying all of those amounts. And then when I had lump sum, I was just paying off all of the principals in order to stay in the agreement. The reason why there hasn't been a payment since 2022 was, like I said, in April of 2021, I paid off all of the principal pertaining to this agreement, so that that my obligation would have been satisfied under the agreement that I have.
At which agreement are you looking at? Does it include 2019?
Yes, it's 2012 through 2018.
Okay, so
How
then,
much was 2019? Can we
Right.
have that amount? What was the tax for 2019?
Yes, for 29, even for 20.
I'm sorry, I'm asking the city for clarification. What was the tax amount added to the agreement for 2019?
I'm gonna be real honest, I do not know how to find that.
Ms.
Mr.
Dillon,
Wakefield, go to the top.
What?
It should be at the front screen. Like it should be, if you click on outstanding balance,
No, that will not say what it was. That'll just say what,
2019, it won't tell you what the tax amount was?
that just shows what is outstanding. That just shows what's
Oh,
not
okay.
paid.
All right, I got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
does anybody have the actual agreement
For 2019?
that includes 2019?
It just was like, Tips just spits out another agreement that does whatever the existing balances are at 34.52 a month. And then we switched away from Tips. I don't even have access to Tips anymore.
Excuse me, Your Honor. That's one of the frustrations I have, because every time that I go to the revenue department, they're telling me that they're unable to locate one piece of information, another piece of information, and that's why ultimately I had to come before this board, because the city, multiple departments, and not one department can get a straight answer. Not one department is on the same page.
I also have another question. If 2019 was included in the principal, that's one thing, but in terms of the other, has that continued to accrue while
Yeah, so
since 2021?
the other generally accrues as of January of the following year. All right, because it's our statutory legal and lien fees. So it usually comes on in the spring of the year later, right? So when we look at the outstanding balance, you can see it's actually pretty consistent, right? In the early years when he had a higher assessment, and then in the later years, I mean, it's a little lower, right? So when the assessment changes in 14, right, you can see that it becomes about $200, then it goes down again, right, because of the homestead, right? So the other is primarily driven by the early years, right? So the later years other is very low, and it's just because it's a percentage of the balance due when the year ends.
And is that a standard process for Oopa, that the other continues to accrue?
No, that's what I'm telling you, is that it doesn't. It gets put on the account one time, and it gets put on the account in January or February of the next tax year. So for instance,
No, I understand that,
see,
but if he's in an Oopa for 15 years, does the
then the total other will go up because there's a line item other,
Yeah.
right? But the line item others do not change, right? What the only thing that changes is there's a new line, right? So if he doesn't pay 25 and 25 gets rolled in, then eventually come January of 26, there will be like $6 in that column because his taxes are $92.38, right? So it'll be 6% of that, which is $45 plus like the $25 lien fee. So you'll see like a $70 thing there for 2025, but it will only come like one time.
I'm sorry, can I ask the question?
Sure.
Because I'm looking at this printout from the city. It was dated September 7th, 2018. And on that one, the other is calculated at $1,876.76. And as of today, I'm noticing that the other is calculated as $2,368.35. That's a difference of $491.59. If something is not added to it, then how do you explain the difference between what Mr. Wakefield has just stated and almost $500? Because there's a big discrepancy between.
Sir, the other is lower than your 2018 number. The other is not 2,500 and some dollars. It's $1,682.98.
I just calculated the other. If bear with me, my math might be wrong, but
we're all looking right at it.
correct. If you look,
That's because some of his payments have been used for that.
Correct.
Sir, you're referring to a printout from 2018.
no,
And what Mr. Wakefield is explaining is that number is just not the same.
correct. I have a printout prior to me coming here today, which has all of the calculations. That's the one that has the total amount of $4,007.55. And when you add up all of those numbers, that's where you get the $4,007.55. But in that column of other, it also reflects a total other of $2,366.79.
When was that printed, sir? Like what year was that printed from?
This one was printed today. This is the one that I'm referring to. And then I also have one for reference on dated September 7th, 2018. So I have one from today and I have one from 2018.
Except we're looking right at it. It's not $2,500. It's $1,682.98.
That's the remaining balance.
That's the remaining other balance.
Other balance,
And-
yes.
That was
and-
not the highest that it ever was.
Are you looking at the interest, sir? I think you might be looking at the interest.
No, I'm not looking at the interest. When you look at it, because if you look at it 2019, it has $1.56. Then 2018, it has $142.28. 2017, it has 100.
I mean, we can't see that, so that's not possible for us to follow.
Well, this is from 2018, so
Correct.
we are in agreement that 2018 is not what's current.
Correct,
So,
but
okay.
this is today. I just printed out today.
This goes all the way back to 2010, and
Correct.
it includes 2024.
Correct, but 2000, but those, they do not have any dates on for 2010. If you look at the other, everything else.
Sir, I
know,
want you to
I'm
know that this has nothing on it that indicates when it was. This looks like
Yes.
something you created, which is why
I just literally downloaded from the city.
Okay.
It
Well,
said export.
all I know is Mr. Wakefield is literally showing the city's Prism is the city's accounting system, and he's literally showing the screen. So we want to.
May I show you on my phone? I'm sorry.
I'm just letting you know,
Yes.
Mr. Wakefield works for the city, and he's showing the city's accounting
Correct,
department.
and this is
That's
what
all I'm saying.
this is what I have from the city. That's
All
why. If I could show you on my phone.
But nobody else can see it on the.
I know. I'm sorry.
So is there any
I can
other?
explain. I think I can explain the discrepancy. If you guys give me a second.
Mhm.
He looked at the website and the total in charges, right? If you add up all the charges for other, not reflective of any credits, is probably in the ballpark of what he's saying.
Mhm.
But the issue is, so it's 1,400 plus 276 is 1,676, plus another 200 is 1,876, plus another 200, give or take, it's 2,000. It should be about 2,300 and some dollars total in the other column. But we have since credited $700 of his payments to the other column because it's part of his owner-occupied payment agreement. So I think that's where his confusion is
When was it
coming.
credited, Mr. Wakefield?
What?
When was it credited?
So it's been credited over many of his payments, right? And so, for instance, the initial other for tax year 2012 was not $703.93. Initially, it was $1,406.03. And so we have begun crediting as part of his payment agreement that $1,400. Portions of his payment agreement were being paid to that other because that was the oldest balance, was part of the payment agreement. So that's actually, and if you look at that, that explains the difference between the $2,300 in total charges over time and the $1,600 that appears today, right? And so some of that would have been as part of his initial payments. And so when in 2018, when we did a print off for him, some of that credit already would have been applied. So yes, when he looks at that other column, there were $2,300 worth of charges, but at some point $700, was applied, and that's why there's a discrepancy, because the city has been applying faithfully payments that he made to the principal and to the other.
Okay, so Mr. Peters, is there any new information or that you have not yet provided us with that you would like to tell us before we end?
Let's see. No, I believe that's it.
Okay, Mr. Wakefield, any closing comments?
No, thank you.
All right, does the board members have any questions?
No.
All right, so we're going to step back. Mr. Peter, just stay where you are. Mr. Wakefield, you know the drill.
I'm sorry, just before, because you're not including 2011 and 2010, correct? Because I didn't, I purchased the property in 2011 and.
That's correct. The balance begins in 2012, sir.
Correct, and it was 2011 was paid off at closing in.
Yep. Okay, we're going to step back as a board to deliberate on this matter.
Okay, thank you.
everyone is back, I believe. Yeah, Paula.
Got everybody?
Mhm.
Okay. Tax Review Board is now in session. We have discussed and deliberated over the information provided both by Mr. Peter and Mr. Wakefield. And it is our determination that we will direct the Department of Revenue to reinstate the Oopa agreement for the balance of principal amount 135.10 and the legal and lien fees. I think came to what, 1682 and some change, Mr. Wakefield?
0.98, yeah.
Thank you. And the reason behind our decision is that these amounts have been shown to still be due. Mr. Peter, we feel that some of the charges you have not taken into account start with the 2019 tax balance that got rolled into your Oopa. So looking at the numbers from 2018 or your Oopa agreement from 2018 doesn't give the full picture of what the Oopa program encompassed for you, since the 2019 year did get rolled in and did become part of the liability. In addition, the charges labeled other, which are legal fees, lien fees, and I'm not sure if there are anything else rolled in there, are not fees that the Tax Review Board has any jurisdiction to remove or reduce. So those are subject to the Oopa agreement without our having any jurisdiction over those matters. So, and it is our understanding as well that when those two balances are paid either through Oopa, or if you choose to pay them more quickly, you obviously always have that option. All of the interest and penalty that are showing as accrued on this account will be reduced to zero, and there will be no interest and penalty payments made for these tax years. And we could see, based on Mr. Wakefield sharing his screen, that the city has not prorated any of the payments. And at this point, all of your payments have gone to outstanding principal and other charges. So that is the decision of the board. And I'd like to get concurrence from board members. Mr. O'Connor?
John O'Connor, I concur.
Mr. Matthew?
George Matthews, I concur.
Nancy?
Nancy Camerino, I concur.
Paula Weiss, I concur. Mr. Peter, you will get a letter from the Tax Review Board in about 2 weeks with this decision. Either party does have the right to appeal to the Court of Common Pleas within 30 days of the date of that letter. Should either party decide to do so, that information will be in the letter. And that then concludes this matter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. Did you have a question?
Mr. Peter, I can't hear you. Can you talk closer to the mic? Did you turn the mic off or something?
Oh, I did. Hello, can you hear me?
Much better, much better.
Okay. What's the total tax that's owed on the total tax that's owed on?
Currently, through 2024, the principal is $135.10.
And then and the other is?
And the other is $1,682.98.
Okay.
Now, come December, the 2025 taxes will be billed, so that'll go up. It's not much; it's like $95.
No, I already received that, so I'm fine with that.
Awesome.
So
All right.
thank you for coming in. And we're
Thank you,
gonna
sir.
move on. Ms. Andre, do we have any other petitioners available?
No, it is approximately 3:20, and there is nobody here at the Tax Review Board at 100 South Broad Street, and there is no one in the virtual waiting room either.
Okay, so we're gonna go back through the list to take care of the other cases that were listed, and we're gonna start with what's listed as case number 2, Core Logic. Last 4 digits to the docket, 301, is that a Q? There's a line on it, I'm not
I
sure.
apologize. Yes, 2 Qs.
3Q, 1Q for Logic. There is no one who has.
I have an update on that.
Mr.
So
Wakefield?
this was a refund petition that came about because of problems with applying their Keystone Opportunity Zone.
Mhm.
The refund has since been issued, which explains why they didn't come, probably, is they got their money. So this would have been no action needed.
All right, so what they've asked for has been taken care of by the city.
Yes.
So a no action needed by the board. Can I get concurrence from board members? John?
I concur. John O'Connor.
George?
George Matthews, I concur.
Nancy?
Nancy Camerino, I concur.
Paula Weiss, I concur. We are going to move on to case number 6, Walter Barnes, last 4 digits of the docket, 7319. Mr. Wakefield, do you have any information on this matter?
No, this board actually issued a final decision in December of 2023. Mr. Barnes came down and appealed this in March of 24, which is clearly untimely. So this would have had been denied either way, because the board issued a final decision that was then appealed internally. It wasn't appealed to the Court of Common Pleas. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So we're going to deny this for failure to appear at this point. Can I get concurrence?
Yes, John O'Connor, I concur.
George Matthews, I concur.
Nancy Camberdinger, I concur.
Otherwise, I concur. I believe that completes our docket for today.
That is
Awesome.
correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Everyone have a nice weekend. Take
Yes.
care.
Care. Bye.
Finance.
Bye now. I thought I signed off.